Hey, hey, hey! Welcome back to the stream, guys. Hey, so we already got a couple of familiar faces in chat. Perfect timing, Bob and Mom. You got here right when I was getting started. Sorry, it took me a little longer to get started with the stream than I thought. But everything's all done and ready to go now, and I can really jump into the stream. Doing a classic today. Pushing for more development into my indie game. It's been a couple of days since we've done one of these streams. 4, to be more specific, I believe. So I thought it would be good to come back and do that. You or anyone else watching this in the future may already notice that there are some differences from the last stream. I made a little bit of progress on my own outside of the stream, specifically getting stuff over here set up. No extra environmental details around the walls, but key gameplay features. Nothing too much beyond that, though. Did some slight readjustment with the lights. The environment's been slightly reorganized. Hey, thanks. Glad you're liking it so far. It's coming along pretty well. So today is going to be a lot of environmental building. More specifically, we've gotten this area done and all built out. We've got the keyframed position for the camera here to kind of show what this camera position is going to look like. But now, for this stream, we've got to get the 3 other camera positions done, which is what these are going to be used for. There's got to be 1 corresponding camera area for each of these 3 switches, and then this one for this area. So, to do that, we're going to need to build out the environments. Already, of course, I know that 2 of them are going to take place in these rooms right over here. Oh, God. More ads. Oh, man. Either way, like I was saying, 2 of them are going to be in here. I thought about reusing this storage room as one of the camera positions for this mechanic over here too, but I figured this whole area is already kind of dedicated to another gameplay mechanic, so I'll just leave that one alone. Give more spaces, that way there's a little bit more to look at. Good excuses for more camera positions. Let's see. I guess we can start off, go ahead and make some collections so we can organize things in. Go party room 1 is what this one will be. I'm just going to duplicate this, bring it over here, take it from the main hall, put it in the party room, close that up. And now, bring it down a little bit. Try to figure out the floor plan. It's already lined up perfectly there, might as well leave that. Even if it doesn't go all the way down to that part of the wall. Let's see. G, X, move. And Control A, all transforms. Yeah, not perfect, but that can be explained away. You're not going to really see that anyways. Next thing is I'm going to duplicate those, bring them over here. Turn off the mirror modifier. And then we're going to sandwich these walls together, essentially. But I also need to go in here and make sure that I take this out of the main hall and put it where it needs to be. Same thing here. Main hall. Drag it over here. Alright, I forgot this one has the hole punched on the side of it. Line it up so it kind of fits at that gap there. And now how big to make the room? That's the next big question. Don't want it to be too big that it kind of takes way too long to fill up with details and environmental stuff, but also need to make sure that it's big enough that we still have room for everything to fit. Man. Chest is a little stuffy today. I'll try not to clear my throat out too much on the mic. Oh yeah, so engine-wise, I've been trying to learn Godot. You know, a lot. I would love to be able to use Godot properly, but for this particular project, I'll be using an older program that I've been practicing with a lot for a couple of years now. It's called a GDevelop 5. It's very rudimentary, very simple. It's a visual-based learning program. And it's, you know, it's kind of in like this weird, awkward, like middle ground, I think, in terms of its developmental power, where it's got a lot of the key features that you need to like make pretty decent stuff. Like all the core stuff is there, but it's missing a lot more of like the detailed stuff, a lot of the high definition stuff. At least currently, that's the plan. You know, that could always change. I haven't done any work in an actual game engine yet, so I could always change it to something else. The only reason I would choose GDevelop over something like Godot is the fact that GDevelop is the only game dev program that I really know how to use properly. It's kind of funny, you know, with Blender, it took me a while to really figure out how the program worked, and I ended up going on and off with the program for years until finally I just sat down and dedicated myself to a project, and I just kind of forced my way through until the project was done. And of course I saw plenty of flaws when it was done and everything, but I had a fundamental understanding of how Blender worked, and then I was able to just kind of work from there. And ever since then I've been using it like nothing, now that I've really figured it out. But I feel like I'm kind of in the same kind of state with my game dev experience, where I've opened up Godot, Unity, Unreal Engine, all of those programs countless times over the course of like the last several years, trying to figure out how they work, but it's just never quite clicked for me yet. And then GDevelop was just so simple that it was impossible to not figure it out after a little while. Then I made some small projects with it, saw some other creators making some small stuff with it. But you know, it's kind of a back and forth. I figured for this particular game, though, the big thing with GDevelop is that it's almost entirely a 2D game dev program. The only reason that I wouldn't say completely is because they've been you know, dipping their toes into the 3D world. It's still very weird, and I would never recommend anyone use it to make a full proper 3D game, but it's a good starting point, I guess. But since my game is going to kind of be recreating that old school FNAF style, you know, with purely pre-rendered assets and environments, my game technically isn't 3D by that definition then, and all of the mechanics I can think of that this game will need can be done with the tools that GDevelop has, which is kind of why, at this point, I've kind of been like, oh, maybe I'll just use that program, just because I know I understand it, and it can do everything I need it to. I can turn off the mirror for that one now. That works. Alright, that seems like a decent size, maybe. Probably set a new keyframe for our camera here, and then we can sort of go from there. I'm gonna set a new keyframe. I'll kind of figure out which corner of the room this camera should be in. I wonder, did I animate the resolution of this camera? No, it doesn't look like it. Shoot. Forgot to turn on auto keying. Thankfully I didn't lose anything important. Alright. There we go, that's a good starting point. Looks like that'll probably work pretty well. Got the doorway in the view, and I think that'll help really illustrate where the room is. Man, this chair is so creaky. Need to get some oil for this chair or something. Maybe some WD-40. Yeah, hey Jason, welcome to the stream. I saw you there earlier. Click Team Fusion, eh? That sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard of that program before. Let me check real quick. Huh, interesting, yeah. Oh yeah, okay, I'm remembering this now. I was wondering why that program was so familiar. I know this because like Click Team Fusion is actually kind of like the go-to program for people to make FNAF fan games. Because I think I considered this at one point, but I think it costs something, which you probably know. Oh, wait, no, this version is free, huh? Yeah, pretty much, I might as well be. But, huh, for instance, interesting. What was I looking at then? This whole time, every time I remember there was some program. Maybe it was something else. It does look like there's maybe a paid-for version of the program. Interesting. Well, I'll have to look into that then. I know that it's kind of like the go-to program for making FNAF fan games because I'm pretty sure the original FNAF game, I don't know how many of the originals, but at the very least the very first one, was made in Click Team Fusion, like 2.5 or whatever version it was at the time. So I wonder how that program works and why it seems to be so weirdly optimized for that style of game. I mean, hell, if it works properly, I'll give it a try. I haven't done any development inside in a game dev program for this project yet, so I could still change up what program I used. It's good to know, though. Keep that in mind. Hey Jada, welcome back to the stream. Oh, I see, Bubby. It's there's a pro version that's paid. That makes sense. I guess it was just a thing where every time I went to look it up and see if it costed anything, they just kept advertising me the pro version first. Should have been smart enough to look past that, but I'm a big dumb candle. Yes, Jado, this is the map for my for the game, for my fan game. I don't know if you were here for all of my streams. I know my last one was entirely focused on modeling the last of the main cast of characters and then making the little mask of himself at the end. But yes, currently this is the state of the map. It's not going to be anything too big, too crazy. For lore reasons, it's not going to be a fully fleshed out pizzeria. It's going to be a handful of very specific rooms. And that's all for story reasons for the game itself that we'll see once the game releases. Ha 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 ha. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Click Team Fusion, point and click games, that makes sense, huh? Yeah, I mean, I'll have to look into it. I'll probably, maybe once the stream is done, I'll try to see if I can find some videos online, find some tutorials, see how you would make certain things and compare it to my process and the programs I'm using and go from there. See what kind of programming system it has. Oh no, sorry Jado. Blender is, as far as I'm aware, Blender isn't available on Steam. We were talking about a programming, what's it called? Engine. That's the word. We were talking about a game dev engine called Click Team Fusion that's apparently available for free on Steam. We were talking about how I, for a while, thought it was a paid-for program, but it turns out there's a free version available online. Mainly because, you know, we're just talking about what program I should use for actually developing the game once I get all the art renders and everything done. And I know ClickTeam Fusion is the go-to for FNAF fan games, but I always thought it was paid for. Turns out there's a free version, like I've already said. Now I'm repeating myself unnecessarily. Alright, so we got this here, and then I believe there should be, maybe in the office, some sort of hidden object somewhere that's the roof, but I don't remember where I put that roof object. This? Alright, I guess, yeah, there are already multiple thingamabobs. Office. Where is it? Doesn't seem to be one here, which there really should be. Light fixture, table, room. Why is this one just called room? I guess it's the ceiling, probably. There we go. It's all just the base parts of the room. I'm just going to put that in the office itself without anything too specific. It looks like it was covering 2 rooms, but now they'll be separated properly. There we go. All right. You know what I might do? Probably just going to make a new collection for all the roofs on their own. Yeah, there we go. This will make it a little easier for organizing them later. Office, main hall. Yep. There we go. It's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that should be all of them. I think what I need to do real quick. I can just extend off of these. There we go. That's part of the hallway. Now we don't have to worry about accidentally seeing little empty parts there on the sides when the corner turns. And then I'll just do the same here with the floor, just to be safe. Oh, right, extend, right click, then stretch out. Oh, looks like there's something done wrong there. Ah, shoot, I hate it when this problem happens. There we go. You're right in between that gap. Perfect. Now all the roofs are hidden away in one spot where I don't have to worry about them. Also move it up there. And voila. Now back to the party room. Kind of got the main area established. We need to bring in some lights though. That way we can actually see when we start test rendering. Oh, the YouTuber Mighty Taco, I'll keep that in mind. Are they a YouTuber game developer? Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, Jado, you're absolutely right. I did check that to be sure. At the very least, the very first FNAF game. I don't know about the others. I would assume the first couple, because they all have the same kind of style. Probably all used Click Team Fusion. The Snarl. Hey, Strider. Welcome to the stream. Come on in, put your legs up. Enjoy some game dev with some relaxing music. Hey, Unknown. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you in chat before. Well, welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy your stay. Everything's going pretty well, you know. I haven't done one of these streams for this game in a couple of days at this point, but I really wanted to give myself some time to process everything and make sure I knew what it is I needed to do next. That way I could come up on a stream like this and just get to work and work for the full time without any worries. Alright, that's interesting. Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, so they are a Click Team Fusion tutorial maker. Nice. I'll check those out. That'll be helpful. I already know where I need to look. Alright, so I think now that we got that, I'm going to, within the party room, create a new collection for lights. And then select all the pieces for one of these lights. I'm going to make sure I got the right thing selected. And only that selected. Alright. Duplicate that. Main hall. Lights. Drag over to here. Collection within a collection. I don't care about these ads. Maybe I just need to find a new copyright-free music thing to put on, you know? Or I could just download it. Maybe that would be easier. Just download the file, you know, play it on loop in the background, and I don't have to worry about it. As long as my media player doesn't break down again. Every time I try to play my videos that I've downloaded or like my animations that I finished on my computer, I can play them like 4 or 5 times and then it just starts freaking out. I don't know why that is. I don't know why it works the way like that. But I don't know why it works the way that it does. That's what I meant to say. Alright, lights. Lights, lights, lights. I'll try to keep these relatively organized in some kind of a pattern. Oh shoot, had auto keying on still. in. Maybe they can overlap like that. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, I didn't even duplicate them. If I go through and select all of these, like that. Yeah, there we go. That's not too bad. That feels about right. Yeah, fair enough. To be fair, most people I know don't use their real name on social media. Yeah, well, to some degree. It's a good way of maintaining some level of privacy. Now, do a little test render. It won't pop up here, but I should be able to open it up after the fact. Oh, what the? That's weird. I can already tell something's wrong with that. What was that about? That's so weird. Let me try that again. Oh, what the? Well, there it is. I guess because I had my auto keying on, and then when I went to turn it off, it just did this. I don't know. It's so weird. Everything looks like it's still here. What I might be able to do is if I just... I guess turn that back on. Set it... What the... They're like actual keyframes. Oh, there we go. That's always kind of annoying. I guess something to keep in mind with Blender. Sometimes you won't be able to see your keyframes that you make or accidentally make because you'll have scrolled slightly. There's no real visual indicator to tell you that. There we go. Now, if I try doing a test render... Okay, yeah. You can't see them right now because it's still rendering, but I can see now as it's processing that the lights are in. But they were not earlier. And here we are. We've got a big ol' empty room. It's nice that we can actually see some of the kind of dirty texture of the floor that I made. That's gonna bother me, but we'll have to figure out how to fix that later. Trying to figure out. I think the lighting spacing feels realistic. But I guess just because the camera is so high up on the ceiling, the lights feel like they're taking up a good chunk of the view. Might need to move them down just a bit. Yeah, there we go. Just enough that you can still see the lights and you can kind of get the idea of where they are, how they look. without them taking up a whole bunch of view. Oh, wait, shoot, forgot. Keyframing stuff. Now I have to turn key back on, and then move it down here, and then turn it off, and then do the render, and then we're good to go. Yeah, fair enough. I'm not, like, super bothered by the floors not lining up, just because, you know, they're separate pieces. It's going to take a lot, but, you know, once I kind of start filling it up with stuff, we'll see how I feel about it. Oh. Shoot. Just almost accidentally ended stream. Almost exited out of OBS by accident. God, that's twice I've done that now. There we go. Okay. Camera's lower. Feels a little weird for it to be kind of low, but at least now you get a clearer view of the entire room. Now tables. I've been using these wooden tables as sort of the standard right now. One for the office and then a bunch of spare tables back here. I feel like it only makes sense that one would be reused. Of course, the dimensions and everything are going to change. But there's one thing in particular that I know I'm going to do to this that I think will change it up enough that we won't have to worry about it feeling too repetitive. Where is it? There we go. Party room. And close the light subcategory within there. We'll start off by making it pretty much perfect. But then we can go ahead and add little differences later. First things first, gotta extend the table this way. There we go. Make it a decent little bit wider. And then make it a little bit shorter. And bring it up a little bit more than that. Control A, all transform, set origin to there. Ah, shoot. I think I'm gonna need to change around which versions of the wood material are where. There we go. That works. One large party room table right in the center. We'll leave enough space that we can fill up some chairs, put some decorations on the walls, all that good stuff. But the big thing is, I know I want to try this. I've done this in previous renders. I know the chances are almost none, but if any of you have seen my speed modeling video back I made a little while ago, where it was pretty much just a time lapse of me modeling a little render of Carl the Cupcake from the FNAF movie. I'm going to try to do something here that I did in that video. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to keep these relatively square subdivisions. That's pretty good. It's gonna need to be pretty high, but I don't want to go too high for just the default mesh material itself. Something like that will probably work. Modifiers. Subdivision. We'll go with a level of 1 to start. Shade smooth. Material. Call this tablecloth. We'll worry about the details later. Just keep it default for now. Move it so it's just barely above the table. Go ahead and go to this table. Add a collision modifier to that. And this we're going to do a cloth modifier. And it's done that for some reason. I guess I should... what I probably need to do is go over here. Cloth. There we go. By default, what are we looking at? I'm sure you can kind of see where we're going with this now. Pretty simple. All right, looks like it's a little too wide. Needs to be a little shorter. Modifier. Subdivide it twice. Then do a cloth sim. Then we'll add one more subdivision of just a level of 1. We'll make sure it's shaded smooth. And that's going to be harder to run, but we only need to run it once or twice, really. Alright, let's see how that's looking. Oh, right, almost forgot. We need self-collision. Collision, self-collision. Bump up that quality. Let's see what we got now. Whew, man. Always forget how demanding cloth sims really can be. Thankfully for this project, we're not going to need any live simulations past this initial go. Right now I'm just waiting for everything to settle. There we go. Okay. That's looking pretty good. That's pretty cloth-like. Oh shoot. Just undid all that stuff. Great. Ah, well, I can fix that after the fact. Also, just make sure there's no sharp edges being detected. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna move that a decent bit that way. Oh wait, how long are we in? Oh wow, we're we really already an hour of the way into the stream? Jeez, yeah. Hey, congrats guys, we've already been an hour in. That's pretty good. I mean, I know it took me a little longer to get the stream started, and that's, I'm sure, still counting for time, but still. Oh, what PC do I use? Oh yeah, I am using a proper like PC, full-on computer with a tower and everything. Exactly what all it is, I'm not entirely sure. I know that sounds weird, but my computer, I actually bought it off of my older brother. He is he's a big computer guy. He likes making computers. He'll usually he'll buy a bunch of parts that he needs, put together the top of the line computer, you know, whatever's available at the time. Then as time goes on, he'll just keep upgrading it with more and more stuff. But then if enough new stuff starts quickly coming out, then he'll just set one computer aside and he'll start a whole new computer, just putting all his new pieces together. What I'm currently working with is one of his older computers that he doesn't use anymore, and he needed a little bit more money to be able to buy some upgrades that he needed for his setup for his his work and his computer. So he was willing to sell me his old computer and his old monitor, keyboard, all that stuff for pretty cheap. But because of that, I don't really know what all is in here. I've never been big on computers. I mean, I've started to do more research and kind of figure out like more about it, just because I need to know how to do like some level of like maintenance, being able to handle it, kind of figure out what's going on, diagnose any problems, go in there, fix things. But still nothing too insane. I forget which graphics card I have. It's some sort of GeForce brand. I guess whatever like the top of the line one was 10, 15 years ago. If that. Well, maybe not that long. Yeah, who knows. Either way, someday, I'll have to sit down and really look at the specs of my computer and get them written down just so I know. Because a lot of people like to ask, which, I mean, makes sense. But I just don't know nothing. Alright. Switched over to this material viewport, so hopefully rendering this won't just crash everything altogether, but let's give it a go. This is really slow. I know that there are definitely ways to optimize this, and I could do this better. But seeing as I only need the simulation to really play out once, I'm willing to let it chug for a little while. I can definitely say, though, I don't recommend this for anyone doing cloth sims for any like bigger projects. One of the biggest projects on my channel is a Hollow Knight animation I made a while ago. It's pretty popular, where I reanimated the Season 2 intro for Arcane with my own Hollow Knight models. That was actually the project that I started off finally figuring out how Blender worked, as I talked about earlier. And every character that had a cloak in that animation had a cloth sim cloak. I kind of went back and forth between wanting to hand animate them or use cloth sims, but I had never done cloth sims before or anything, so I figured it would be a great opportunity to learn. And what I learned was that cloth sims on characters suck a lot. It was pretty tedious, pretty big back and forth. But eventually, I figured it out, got into a workflow, and then things were mostly fine from that point on. But I definitely know that if I ever remake those character models, I'm definitely just gonna use like an actual weight painted rigged bones, and maybe a little bit of a wiggle bone physics, if I really want to get some simulated stuff in there. Hey, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you guys. Good to see more faces coming in. As you can see right now, we're currently creating a tablecloth. Right now, I'm just letting the simulation run so we can bake its position and then use that as a default position without having to handcraft this kind of material. That is something that's really handy about cloth sims, though. If you're making like a shirt or any sort of cloak or anything that needs to have like a lot of detail in its cloth formation, but it's going to be like baked, then cloth sims are like the way to go. If you need it animated, then probably not. Still, I'm rambling. It looks like we're almost at a point of it being settled. I'd be careful about that. I'm no nutritional expert, but I feel like pencil erasers are probably the last thing you want to put in your mouth. Okay, I'm gonna pause it there, and then I'm gonna see if I can't bake this, because this looks quite good. Better than any cloth I could hand model, at least currently. Love all the little subtle ripples here in the front. Took some time to get the simulation to go, but now I need to be very careful and make sure I don't do anything wrong. If I apply that, oh shoot, where did that go? What was that? I think if you control A. Oh no, I see the dotted lines down there. I think we've just lost the progress by accidentally doing the wrong thing. Oh, here. Maybe we can still do it. I'll say it again. Please don't eat erasers. Alright, now how do I bake this? Let's see. Let me just go ahead and bake that. It's probably a more efficient way of doing this, but it's a way that works at least. It's gonna take some time though, man. But once this is done, we'll have a cloth to work with. Interesting. I've heard things about jumping spiders. I've seen people that keep them as pets even. But you gotta be careful. I mean, if it's just a wild spider in your room, you know, then you guys be careful if it bites you. Oh, don't worry. Hey, Holly, welcome back to the stream. They're sitting out in the hallway, untouched. Right now, we're just giving this cloth object some time to bake so we can take its keyframes. See, where are we at? We're about 40% of the way. Yeah, this is going to take some time. And I can't really touch anything on my computer in case it messes up the bake or becomes a little too much and it crashes, so I've just got to kind of sit here and wait. Almost there, 63% of the way. the very least, I'll only really have to worry about doing this kind of bake once. I'm probably then just going to duplicate this table, put it over in the other party room once we start modeling it, and then I can just kind of rotate it the other way. You'll see it from the other angle, and it'll pretty much be the same as seeing a different thing. Can't think of any other cloths around the environment I'm going to have to worry about rendering. And even if I do, at least now I know that they can be a little more simple than this. Just hope this works properly and I'm not doing something wrong. The last thing I want is going to have to... The last thing I want to do is having to redo this. Hey Jada, welcome back to the stream. Still just trying to get this cloth sim to bake properly. But we're almost there. Alright, there we go. So now they got the... Now we have the full animation. Now that it's baked, I should be able to just apply this and then take whatever keyframes I need. I wonder, that should hopefully be how it works. Nope, doesn't look like that. Maybe I have to do this one first. That, and then that. There we go, perfect. Now it's just a regular object. That spot there is a little strange. Wonder if I had one more level. Oh yeah. 2's enough to get all the detail we need. Perfect. Now we have a fully baked cloth and it's not going to take any more extra space. But now we can go over here and we can figure out what exactly we want this tablecloth to look like. I'm not sure what to go with. Probably start up by going and pulling up some reference photos, figuring out party room tablecloths. Seeing what kind of designs we can find. Could go with the classic checkered pattern. But it might be a little too much checkered pattern since it's already a checkered pattern on the floor. But that would maintain consistency, maybe. Consistency or too much repetition. You know, it's a fine balance. Trying to make sure you get one and not the other. Could do more of just a lined look, where it's not checkered, but it is lines. If I wave texture, we'll get a color ramp. Plug that in there, switch it from linear to constant. Right now it's just kind of being projected from the top. If I control T, if I go over here real quick, go ahead and apply its position and mass and all that stuff. Tab A, mesh, oh wait no, UV unwrap. Give that some time to load. Tab back over here, go to shading, pull from the UV, and sorta. No, yeah, there we go. See, So now the lines are coming down straight over here, and then they curve and properly follow the flow of the cloth. This is exactly what was needed. Now how big to make the lines, I'm not sure. There we go. See, I've always had like mixed interactions when it comes to UV mapping and stuff, especially when in the context of needing to create textures, but oh, that is so clean, and that is so good. I figured that was going to be an absolute nightmare, but no, that worked really well. Alright. So now, if I take these, duplicate them there, need to bring the color ramps over here. Shift A, search, mix color, and plug both of these in. Right now, it looks the exact same because they are the same. But if I go over here and rotation, which rotation will it be? That one. Set that to 90. Voila. Now we've got a checkered pattern coming across. Mix. Add. Which one should I do? Or maybe I need what I need is a math thing. Add them together. Let's see how this looks first. Still the same. Interesting. That kind of works. Looks a little grayed out, though. Eh. Fun stylization. That's what we'll say it is. The color, now that's a whole new thing. But yeah, we've got the basic texture idea down, at least for now. We can always go back and forth on it later. Probably going to need to eventually add in another mix node. That way we can mix in a bit of a noise texture probably. Get a bump map in there. Create some fun variation, make it look dirty. Hey Spring, welcome back to the stream. Yeah, things are going pretty well. Currently working on a tablecloth. Took some time to get the simulation in so we could have an accurate looking cloth sim, but now it's done. Now it's all baked. No, I have not. I know of Tyler, the creator. I know that name, but I've never like watched any of their stuff or have any idea what they do. Now let's see. Color. Maybe we'll start with a bit of a blue. Now, what color to go with the blue? Let's try a yellow first. Don't know why, but that feels like that could be something. Looks a little too much like blueprints. Let me look over my reference again and see what kind of colors we see. It's a lot of mixed. Seeing a lot of reds, a lot of blues, pinks, whites, greens, pretty much everything. The color of the restaurant seems to be a lot of natural browns and then some mixed in red. Part of me is like maybe I should go with a red, but then it's gonna conflict too much with the floor. It's going to blend in too much. It's already a similar-ish pattern. Maybe green. Green, yeah, actually, green seems like that would actually work a lot well. You know, kind of continue with the natural, nature-y kind of vibe. The yellow doesn't look too bad there. Yeah, let's go ahead and get a test render going. Kind of get an idea of how it looks in context. It's gonna take some time to get done, but once it is, we'll be able to see. Oh yes, but of course, you do always come back. Alright. That's not too bad. There is the texturing of it is like a whole other thing that we'll be taking care of, so I'm trying not to focus on that too much. Mainly we're just looking at the colors and the pattern and how it works in context. I think going with something else for the lines at least is going to need to happen. I think first off, let's make the green a little darker, a little less saturated. And then for the other color, maybe we'll just go with a dark green. There we go. Let's keep those the same. I want to make sure they're exact. I wonder, would I be able to plug both of these in to one color ramp? No? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright. Over to here. Start messing with some of these textures here. Keeping it low makes it look too glossy. Keeping it up high, that makes it look more like a proper cloth. Now we're going to add a noise texture. Because we want to get in some variety. Mix in a little bit of decoloration. I think what I need to do, if I remember correctly, we kind of swap these ones' positions, change it from mix to multiply. And now, we're starting to really get what we need. If we turn up the detail, the roughness a little bit more. Don't want it to be too obviously repetitive. Also don't want the dirt to be too big, too small, too obvious. Something like that. That doesn't seem to really be changing too much. I might as well still do it. A little bit more color. Alright, yeah, I can bring the factor all the way up. That helps a lot. There we go. Yeah, that's the one that makes it all curvy. I think this one, yeah, this is the one that makes it look all spotty. Kind of what we need. Now that I think about it, actually, this base texture also needs a little bit of that, probably. Thankfully, there is a way to do that. Let's change the detail of both of these all the way up. Detail, scale, distortion. Change the distortion to a value of... Start off with 2. And then distortion scale up to 5. That looks like it might be too much. I think the scale maybe needs to be brought up real high. Oh yeah, also roughness. That's what needs to go up too. That's looking pretty good. We're gonna need another one of these for the bump. Put that in the normals. We can see how that looks. May or may not keep it. Is it the right direction? Seems like it. Turn the strength down a decent bit. There we go. Now another test render. Very good, look at that now. Whew, can definitely tell the render times for these little test renders are definitely gone up. I imagine that's all thanks to do to this really, really detailed cloth. But still. Ultimately, it's not too big a deal because everything will be pre-rendered, so render times don't matter too much. Yeah, there we go. Looks pretty good. Looks like a bit of a dirty rag, which is pretty much what we're going for. Oh yeah, don't worry about it, Bobby. Yeah, no, I don't mind that question. My pronouns are he, him. At least the that's just the easiest answer, you know. Oh, hey, Spring, yeah. Well, I mean, I beat the initial nights, but there was one final sale which I went back and forth on, and I couldn't quite beat it. I'm sorry. I got really close though, several times, but it was too unfair. Towards the end, they added this whole thing where instead of just waiting for the animatronic to leave, you had to do basically like a little back and forth mini game. Move your mouse around to the right spot, flash him for long enough, eventually he'd leave. But because of that stretched out the amount of time you had to dedicate to getting rid of each animatronic every time someone showed up, which just gave some other character enough time to come in and kill you if they happened to come at the same time, which happened way too frequently to count. God, I won't dig it up too much, but game was fun. relatively well balanced, but mechanics didn't really clash very well whenever they really got up to the higher difficulties, because there's just far too much overlap where if you weren't lucky, you were just gonna die no matter what. But all right, we've now got that table in. It's working. We can always come back and fiddle with this later if we need to, but for now, it's looking pretty good. Chairs, though, I do realize we never actually modeled any chairs, which, to be fair, we haven't needed chairs at this point. It's not like you can see your own chair when you're sitting in it, really. So how I'm going to model that is going to be interesting. Immediate thought is just, there's a little basic wooden chair, but that might feel a little strange. Don't want it to be too similar to, like, the other wooden materials around here, but I also don't want it to be so different that it stands out. What kind of person I am, eh? Resident Evil 7 Ethan or Resident Evil 8 Ethan? I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen a lot of I've seen playthroughs of both, but Resident Evil 7, it's been a minute. Resident Evil 8, I'm more up to date with. Huh. Which one? I don't know. They're both great games. They both work at different scales. Resident Evil 7 is much more focused on the small scale horror house sort of like crazy things you got to deal with. Resident Evil 8 really ramps it up and takes it to the, we're still like kind of scary, but we're really taking it to like a whole other like action-y scale, you know, almost comic book-esque towards the end especially. And I guess yeah, that's kind of the point. Is Ethan in the 7th game is still kind of getting used to everything and doesn't really know what's going on, but in the 8th game he's dealt with this enough and he's just sick and tired of it. I don't know. Maybe 8, I guess. I just feel like 8 sticks in my brain more, but that might just be because that was the one I was more active with when it was actively coming out. Of course, I still saw plenty of Resident Evil 7 stuff, but that was more post its release, you know, post excitement, post hype train and everything. Oh yeah, Heisenberg, he's a lot of fun. His voice is like ridiculous in the best possible way. Hey Spring, I do believe I have tried out the FNAF 2 Reimagined before. A little bit of it, you know, nothing too much. I don't know. I've kind of seen like the basic stuff, you know. I've played it enough to understand that it's like a, you know, just like a really cool remake of the second FNAF game. I mean, hell, maybe I'll play that one on stream someday. Play it to completion. That could be a lot of fun. The FNAF co-op, though, I think I've played a couple of games that I've seen that are like FNAF co-op games. Nothing crazy, nothing in videos or anything, but I've tried a couple of those. Oh yeah, I've heard of budget cuts. Yeah, I'll look into that later on. Oh shoot. More ad. Wait a minute. Oh sorry, this is completely random. Just got an ad in the middle of my music playlist, but the guy in the commercial, I know him. Oh, he's a TikToker. Makes music. You guys know him. If you're at all in the music comedy spoof sphere on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or wherever, then you probably know that guy. Thought I recognized that voice. But he's gone now. Back to casual bongos. I wonder, what does it look like if I were to bring down these subdivisions? Okay, level of 1 seems like that's necessary, but beyond that, it's not too bad. Do still think maybe I need to make some of these more subtle. Bring down the bump. Maybe bring the factor down to a 0.8. instead of a solid 1. 1.7. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. How centered is this? I feel like that's something I'm missing. It's relatively centered. A little too far back, maybe. Misjudged it with the wall there a little bit. Nothing that bad. Doesn't need to be perfect. It mostly just kind of feels a little weird in the camera view. Ultimately, I am going to slightly rotate it. Make it a little more off-center. Off-Peter. Something else I think I'm going to do, though, real quick. I'm going to bring all of these lights up a decent little bit. Because I want this camera to also be a little higher up. I don't like the lights taking up so much of the view, but I also feel like the camera was too low to make much sense. Since you're not really seeing the base of the cameras in the ceiling anyways, I don't have to worry about, well, I mean the base of the lights in the ceiling anyways, I don't have to worry about them feeling out of place. There we go. Feels a little better. Get more of a proper downward angle on the table there. So we've got the base environment, floor, ceiling, walls, doorway, lights, table. All of that set up all in its own folder, ready to go. We've got the basis of the room in. But the chairs, still going back and forth on the chairs. Probably do some sort of standard, basic, comfortable-ish looking wooden chair, kind of mass-produced. The ending for Reimagined is quite different. Oh, that's good to know. That'll definitely be some motivation to play it. Maybe play it on stream at some point. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm definitely planning on doing some posters at some point, but probably gonna have to wait on those a little bit because I'm gonna need to sit down and make the digital art for them. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a stream about me just sitting down and doing an art stream where I just draw a bunch of posters and random notes or something, and then later implementing them into the game. But I can't add posters with art that doesn't exist. Not yet, at least. At the very least, before I start modeling all the new stuff, I can keep bringing over the old stuff that we already have. I know I'm going to need some of these ceiling decorations. Those are all attached. Duplicate those. Bring them over here. Office. Room, maybe? Yeah, room. Party room. Close, close. And keep opened. I don't go too crazy with them, but kind of just going to spread them around some of the more empty parts of the higher parts of the room. Maybe put one over there like it's kind of in front of the camera a little bit. There we go. Maybe I'll put just one more over in this other corner. There we go, pretty simple. Feels more cluttered and busy than it actually is, but you only really need to put it in the spots where it feels empty on the camera, and it feels all full. Then I'll kind of just randomly go through and delete a couple of them. Just to help them all feel a little different by having slightly different star patterns. There we go. And that should be enough to at least illustrate that it's not perfectly repetitive. Positively perfect. Interesting, it's good to know. Alright, so the ceiling decorations really help. Let me get another test render going. I feel like this. I'm really glad I added the ceiling decorations when I did before. Real good way of keeping that in. Ooh, hey. Hey, either Picho. Thanks for the sub. Glad to see you're excited about the channel. Hope you choose to stick around. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Glad to see those notifications are still working. Every stream, I'm always a little worried that I might have messed them up when trying to reorganize them or get them pulled up properly. Currently still using those default notification sounds and default visuals, but someday I'd like to, make some custom ones for myself, some real nice ones. But for now, they work. Hey, I love seeing all the hearts in chat. Nice. I always forget about that little button there. Little button. Little button. Alright. That's done rendering. So yeah, okay. Still, obviously, the room itself is pretty empty, but the table looks nice. It's composited right. I think the colors feel good. Doesn't feel perfectly clean, feels dirty, but it also doesn't feel too obviously like different. Yeah, so the textures feel right. We got the lights there enough in screen that you can see them and you get the idea, but they're not too overwhelming. Ceiling decorations make the ceiling feel like it's full and like it's got all that stuff. Enough visual of the walls that we can have room for everything to stand and move around without too much issue. We can add some chairs, all that good stuff. Thankfully, this cloth just barely doesn't touch the ground because I forgot to add collision to the floor, but doesn't seem to be a problem anyway, so I think we're good. Just barely good. And yeah, I was right. You can't even really see that much of the table, so it being the exact same table again is fine. Yeah. And once we kind of finish up this room and we go over to start the second party room right over there, I'll probably copy over a lot of the stuff, like the room layout to start. So we'll have the floors, ceiling, walls, lights, all that's going to be the same. Table will be the same, but it'll be moved around a little. Camera will probably be in a slightly different position to help make it more obvious that they're different areas. Good for visual clarification. And then, yeah, the ceiling decorations. I'll probably just duplicate all those over too and then rotate them like 180 degrees, and then they'll all automatically be in good opposite parts. Spots is the right word. In fact, I'll probably even be able to get the chairs over once I get those modeled in. There's a lot of reusing assets, trying to optimize and all that. but we've made good progress already, you know? One stream in, or not one stream in, but first stream back, and we've already almost finished this room. Well, almost finished. We still gotta fill it up with a bunch of stuff. Also gonna need plates, silverwares, cups. All that's to come soon. Let's see, how long have we been going? All right, Spring. It was good seeing you again. I'll see you next stream. I should hopefully be streaming tomorrow too, you know. That's currently my plan. Just trying to stream consistently every day for as long as possible. And then if I eventually reach the point where I can't, then I'll start putting out schedules on my community posts on YouTube. Yeah, it was good seeing you again. Thanks for the delicious watch time. Yeah, let's see. What do we have? Yeah. Okay, we're at an hour and 46. So just another like 15 minutes. We'll be hitting the 2-hour mark. That's pretty good. Halfway to our desired time. And we're about halfway through the room. I'd say that lines up pretty well. All things considered, at least. Now, let's see. Chairs. I think chairs are going to be next. Make sure, yeah, that's going to the right area. I'm going to start off modeling over here just to keep it clean and organized. All right. I'll do about that. I think if I select just those. Make sure I got that whole ring selected. Just don't want these really thin faces to be too big, too noticeable. Alright, there we go. Starting to get something. Then we can try to round off that face with that. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Shade smooth by angle. There we go. Alright, then just one more thing. Let's see if I can't round off these. There we go. Nice. Also, one more thing. Select all those. Control E, clear sharp, tab, turn off X-ray, shade smooth by angle. Perfect. Alright, here we go. Feels pretty good for a chair. Want it to feel kind of a little bit almost like a play chair, you know. Like it's not exactly what you would see. Like a little stylized, a little fun, a little different. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Widening up those legs really helps, as it usually does. Now, let's bring this guy over here and get him scaled to fit the environment properly. There we go. Technically can't have any of them tuck into the table now that I realize, at least in front of the camera, because it's just gonna end up clipping right through. That's not like a huge problem. Scale. Nice. All right. Now for the materials, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to go back and forth on it. I do have a couple of different versions of the same kind of wood materials. Also, I can, you know, kind of use which ones I need for the wood to go in, the wood grain, I should say, to go in certain directions, you know. Because just one wood material wouldn't work for every direction or every orientation. I see. Chair. Yep. I am currently coding a room game. It's basically one of those where it is like, oh, that's fun. Can't cover nothing. Like scripting. Yeah, where's that? I could probably understand. Oh, yeah. Coding is a lot. Even some of the most basic coding, it can be a lot. You know, there's a lot to get, a lot to understand. It's a whole new system. There's a reason they call it a language. It's completely foreign to me, even if I want to make stuff. And then, like, moving slightly more advanced editing else. Shares kind of mastered our emotion over the years. Oh yeah, editing software and game dev are so different. It's a lot. It's a whole other level of complexity. I could start with the door wood. Yeah, because this also, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. The door, the chairs, and then the frames are all made of this more varnished kind of nice wood. I think that's the usage that I've been going with. Turn on the render viewport, kind of get an idea what it looks like here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now let's get a handful of chairs in here. It's a good excuse to reuse the same asset quite a bit. Yeah, maybe I'll leave the edges of the table open. We'll see. Put this up. I'll kind of put this one over here at the corner. These chairs a little too close. I want to make sure they don't mirror anything. Or mirror themselves, I guess is the other thing. These ones can actually tuck into the table a little bit, though, if I really want them to. Probably put a few of them stacked up somewhere. Maybe kind of like they've been kind of moved out of the way. Like they've got some extras lying around. Hell, I could put one over here like this. That's fun. There we go. Alright, that feels pretty good as far as chairs go. Nice little populated table. Let that render as well. I always found placing chairs to be pretty satisfying. You know, kind of tell a little bit of a story with where the chairs are, how they move, all this and that, you know. Nothing too crazy, but, you know, it's a fun little thing to do. Yeah, there we go. See, even just those chairs alone already feel like the room is filled up even more than before. More than before. Ah, yes. Oh, don't worry, my candle wax is eternal. My fire will never go out. Thank you, Jason. Thanks for the motivation. I'm glad to see you guys are liking it so far. I'm really excited, you know. It's fun, you know, getting to build the visuals for this project together, you know. Putting it together, getting feedback, just chatting, getting content out of doing what I would have just been doing anyways, but silently on my own. It's a good way of getting stuff out there still. Hey, Nightmare Studio. I don't know if I recognize you from chat. Welcome. Always nice to see a new face. What happens if my candle goes out? I don't know. Thought about that a little bit. I think I would die. I think it's more of the other way around. Less of the fire goes out, I die. More of I die, then the fire goes out. If that makes sense. My favorite scary movie. I don't know. There's a lot. I haven't watched as many like straight up scary movies here recently. Unless you're talking about the comedy parodies, but I assume you're not. Actually scary movies. It's hard to say, you know. there's so many different factors, you know, whether you're going in for just pure nightmare fuel or more of a psychological torture kind of thing, you know, or something with more like body horror. Maybe something that's horror adjacent but always also has maybe a little bit of comedy or action or, you know, any other combination of things. I don't know, it's hard to say. I might have to think about that for a little while. Sleep? I don't know if I sleep. I guess I just don't. Figuring this out on the spot. Ooh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's a classic. That makes sense. You know, it's hard to compete with the classics sometimes, you know. Ugh, jeez, well, I can tell you, there's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of horror stories that I'd say I would not want to come true. All right, tables in, chairs are in. What other sort of things should I put in here? I don't know. Well, immediately on the table, I can fill it up with some plates, cups. I know I already have some cup models over here that I can just take. And duplicate those. Move them away so I know which ones are which. Office. Table. Ha 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 ha. Alright, now let's move these around a little bit. Start off by kind of just placing one of each that I have now around the place, and then we can kind of start going through, duplicating them, kind of moving them where we need. I just realized that most of those aren't even sitting on the table right. Did I even... Nope, it's not even sitting on the table. It's too eager. There we go. Oh, I just realized this one's... Yeah, the trick for a lot of these is just kind of rotate it till the clipping is even. or if there's no clipping, and then just adjust accordingly. There we go, this is about right. Nothing too specific, but just a general little scattering of cups. And once I add in the plates and some silverware and all that stuff, it'll really start to feel full. Hey, good to see a few more people in chat. Yeah, seeing a few new faces. Welcome, welcome. Hope you enjoy your stay. Hey, yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Yes, hello, hello, hello. Have you ever tried to write a book? Oh, I have actually. It's a lot. It's a lot. Technically, I've actually published 2 art books. Nothing crazy. One is a picture book for kids, real young. Made it more so for family members' preschool. And the other was more of just like a fun little coloring book. Just as early tests, but proper writing books. That's a whole other field. I have dipped my toes into it a little bit, and I would love to really get into literature as well. But it is a lot, and it takes up a lot of time. It's a lot harder to make streams about writing a book than it is to make streams about developing environments for games. It can be a lot. Pretty much any creative field can be taken to a farther extreme. There's always like a little casual version of it, and then there's the real up there parts of it. Oof. I know the writing world can be pretty difficult to get into, though. You know, at least in terms of really wanting to go professional, if that's your dream. It can be a lot. Let's see, where are we at? Hey, look. We're at the 2-hour, 8-minute mark. Just past 2 hours, yeah. Well, almost 10 minutes ago, but still. Yeah, 2 hours. 2-hour stream. 2-hour stream. Nice. I don't really know how long this one's going to go for. Kind of going back and forth on it, you know. I know I've talked before about how I want to try to hit 4 hours generally, you know. Mainly because that's the kind of minimum time I need to get decent watch time hours in order to hopefully monetize my channel within the year. I guess that's kind of my goal. I never really talked about that, but yeah, main reason I really picked up streaming again was because it was seemed like a good way of potentially, 1, growing an audience, and 2, hopefully bringing in a good amount of watch time if people wanted to watch. And it's crazy to say, it seems like people do, you know? It's great having you guys here. It means a lot. And being able to hopefully get some decent watch time hours out of streaming for like a few hours a day every day, you know. It's cutting it really close, but I might be able to get my channel monetized by the end of the year if I keep doing this. But I think what really matters is whether or not I'll be able to grow an audience as the year goes on. Currently as is, if I continue to gain the watch time that I am on a daily basis, I would need about how much? Yeah, I would need to stream about 4 hours a day every day for basically a year straight. Well, not a year straight, for the rest of the year. Without breaks. And if I did that, then I could get my channel monetized. And I know it's one of those things, you know, I don't just do YouTube for the money, you know, I'm not doing YouTube because I exclusively want to just make money and I think it'll be an easy job, but, you know, I'm really passionate about my art and my projects. I'd be uploading to YouTube regardless, but if I want to be able to justify spending the amount of time and effort that I am on my channel, I'm going to need to get some sort of kickback from YouTube eventually. I've been doing YouTube on and off for about 4 years now. Still haven't gotten my channel monetized, but that mostly has to do with the fact that, you know, I've kind of chosen to I've chosen to do art and animation, which is notoriously kind of the exact opposite of what YouTube wants out of its content creators, because it's a slow, inconsistent upload schedule where it takes months sometimes just to get a single animation out, only for it to be maybe a minute long and get little to no proper watch time. And then YouTube's just kind of like, we'll move on to something more entertaining. We'll move on to whatever the newest 30-minute gaming video that got put out all of a sudden was. And I don't want to just sit here and complain, you know. I don't want to do that too much, you know, because I still enjoy it, you know. It's still a lot of fun. And hey, I've got these streams now. Depending on how they go, things might still work out. There we go. Move that down to about there. Make sure that these aren't doing that. There we go. So I'm going to need one more level subdivision just for the edge of the plate there. Good, good, good. Now I'm going to make a new material, move this plate over here, and then when it's in the light, we can properly work on shading it. Oof, yeah, that's going to need some scaling down. Yeah, something like that should work. There we go. Control A. Wait, no, wait. Control A, all transforms. Set the origin back to where it needs to be. And now let's start figuring out what a plate looks like. Probably gonna go and pull up some reference photos. Make sure I know exactly what I'm looking to make. Alright, see you later. Talk to you later. We'll see if I'm still alive. Alright, got the underside of the plate right. Okay. Plate. Plate materials are a little weird. There. Not really much texture or anything. Pretty much just a little reflective piece of ceramic. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm just overthinking this whole thing. Yep, and we're done. Wow, so complex. Amazing. Alright, plate. There we go. Now time for the same thing again. We'll start off with some initial plates. There we go. Alright, there we go. Start getting some stacked plates in here. Maybe get another one flipped around. Kind of leaning up on something for whatever reason. You know how plates are, always leaning on stuff. I'm gonna need to rotate that down a little bit. Just a little bit more. There we go, nice. Plates, 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 plates. And I guess if this is supposed to be a pizza place, maybe I shouldn't make silverware. Yeah, it wouldn't make as much sense. On the sides, cups and plates seem like more than enough. Alright, close down that reference photo of just random plates. Alright, what else? Because I also do need to make sure I leave some amount of space for, like people to walk around. Oh, right, I don't know how I completely forgot. The main reason, pretty much, one of the only reasons for this entire room to exist. This thing. Don't know if you guys can hear my dog barking in the background. Probably just some guy walking by. I don't know about you guys, but our dog is all bark, no bite. She'll, bark, 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 bark anytime she sees or hears anyone even remotely coming by the house. But then as soon as anyone comes in or comes to drop something off at the door, she's running around, she's hiding behind people, she's shaking. Kind of sad and also kind of funny. Ultimately harmless. We know that she's not in any real danger, even if she thinks she is. There we go. This is actually a perfect spot. Just enough out of the way that it doesn't clip into this room, and technically it could logically go and work around that way. And it's in a nice, clear, open spot on the camera where you can see it pretty easily without it feeling like too much of a weird focal point, but also not being covered up by a bunch of stuff. Move it a little bit more that way. Oh, nope, sorry, can't do that. Oh, that was wrong. Oh, there we go. Kind of try to find that minimum where it's as close to clipping through without clipping through. There we go. Nice. And now for this wall, we can tab into here. loop cut 2 segments, squeeze them down a little bit, move them this way, squeeze them down a little bit more. Now select all of these. Nope. Deselect that. Select that. And make sure I have this on, and then I can just kind of... Wait, yep, there we go. Gotta select on those points. And now I can just... Bop. Wait, did it work? Oh wait, did I hit the wrong thing? I think I hit the wrong thing. Try that again. Bop. There we go. I just dissolved it for some reason by accident. And now I can move this one over to about here. Maybe move this off to the side just a little bit so it's not clipping to the wall as obviously, at least. And then this wall, we'll just add one loop cut. Try to get it to line up with this decently well. I'll select all these faces. Oh, wrong thing again. Delete. 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 Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No one's gonna see that gap. Well, actually, okay, no, yeah, we're fine. Alright, there we go. Just enough space, just enough things lined up and tweaked to work properly. Well, for the most part. One more thing. There we go, that shouldn't really change anything over here. Yeah, no, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, that even... not really. Still. Alright, that's sort of the basis for the vent there. Really important part. I'm gonna let that render, see how it looks. I might end up deleting the light that I have in there, though. It might be too bright, too obvious. I like having the light in the office area, just to make it clear that it's, you know, your area. White light kind of matches up with the white little lever. Kind of, maybe that'll be a way of letting you know which one is for your office. There we go. Yeah, a little too bright. Draws a little too much attention. Want to make sure you can't see too far down it. I guess I could have just switched over to the render viewport and gotten that idea already made. I'm just gonna delete that. That's a whole lot already. Switch over to material viewport here. Switch this over to there. Oof, yeah. You can't see nothing. I was worried I was gonna have to extend the vent out a little bit, but maybe I still should, just in case. Alright. Grab, lock to the Y position, move up to about there. Just keep zooming in. Perfect. Line up just about right. One more should be enough to make sure that you can't really see anything. No, you can still see something there. And then, what the hell is that? How did that happen? I guess these ones weren't adjusted. What I could probably do. Just copy this over. And copy this one from here. Perfect. Now those should line up without any issues. And then you can still see a little bit there. So I'll duplicate another one of these out. Almost. Boom. Done. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. Now you can't see anything, definitely. Alright, yeah, okay. We got the vent, table, chairs, all that stuff. We got some ceiling decorations. We got a vent. Definitely gonna need some posters, obviously. That'll be done later on. I'm gonna need to add some sort of color identifier, so you know that this is the vent that is controlled by the right lever. Hey, welcome back, Jado. Welcome back to the stream. Yes. Currently, the game is going to be released for free. I've kind of been going back and forth on that, you know, thinking about whether I should go paid or free. But I mean, this is my first game kind of like this. I've technically released 2 other games in the past, but they're really old. They're really basic, you know. I made them way back in the day. This is going to be my first real game, I think is how I'd clarify it. And so, because of that, I know it's not going to be the biggest thing in the world or the most refined thing in the world, and because it's still a fan game, I feel like I should still release this as a free project. I do already have some ideas in mind for my next project. Those ones are going to be completely original, and there's a decent chance those ones might cost something, but if they do, it's only going to be like $1. But this project is going to be free. Alright, now how am I going to add an identifier? Could literally just put like a card up there, maybe. Maybe add like someone taped up something. Or there's just like a little colored item sitting on the rim. Something like that could be fun. Yeah, hey, it looks like we're coming up on the 2.5 hour long mark. You know, that's pretty good. Another half hour, we'll hit the 3 hour mark. You know, we'll kind of see where we are there and kind of go from how I'm feeling from that point. Kind of feel out the stream from there. Looks like we're doing pretty good on viewership. You know, it's not bad. Views are doing all right. Current viewers are looking pretty good. Supposedly we got 4 people in here. Nice. Average view duration is pretty nice. Yeah, you guys probably don't care about these random statistics. I'll just get back to doing the stuff you care about. I don't know. I would talk about it a bit, but it's hard to say. You know, nothing's really concrete. More so, just I mean, working on this project has got me excited. You know, to work on more projects in the future too. Just because I didn't know if I was ever really going to be able to sit down and dedicate myself to making a project like this. So it's just that excitement, you know. And I've got some vague ideas, but nothing concrete. You know, don't want to get your hopes up on an idea that isn't going to happen after all. You know. Who knows? But, you know, we'll see. Similar styling, though, you know. I can say that much. Not a fan game, though. Completely original. Alright. Identifier. How am I going to do this? I need something to match that up. I guess I could go real simple. Mesh cube. Move it over here. Make sure it's in the right folder. let's get this working. I guess I should also get the Z. Alright, we need one of these. I'm gonna shade smooth, turn up the subdivision by one more. And then I'm going to get, let's see, where is it? I know what color it is. Is it? Oh, where is it? There we go. We'll start with blue for this one, we'll go from there. I know I haven't really explained the vent mechanics as much, but I'm going to try to keep some of like the stuff, some of the big mechanics from now on a little quiet, little to myself, just to hopefully maintain some level of mystery once the game does release. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Let's get that down a bit. And let's add another subdivision, a level of 1. Still needs to be a little lower. Just a little cloth identifier, I guess. Hopefully it's obvious enough that in the camera you can kind of see and automatically know which one is for which area. Oh, we'll see. No, true. This is not technically Freddy's, Fredbear's Diner. It is definitely inspired by that kind of old school diner vibe. I am definitely going for that kind of vibe. So it is cool that you thought it was that, but it isn't. Hey, Dennis, welcome to the stream. I think you're new. Good to see you. Hope you enjoy your stay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a shitpost game. We need those games. 5 seconds of fun. Alright, we got the vent itself. Can't see it as it goes off screen. Table, chairs, decorations, top and bottom, lights, identifier for the mechanics. Hey, Betsy, welcome back. No, okay, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and time you out for 10 minutes right off the bat. Look, Betsy, you've come into my chat most of my streams, and you say the same thing, demanding that I make a game for you, and I'm not doing it. I'm getting kind of tired of seeing the exact same messages from you over and over again, asking for the same thing. When that timer runs out, if you're still asking for the same request, then I'm just gonna have to ban you from the chat, okay? I don't want to have to do that, but you're not leaving me many choices at this point. I guess just take this as a final warning. But anyways, let's see, where are we at? We're, okay, 2 hours, 35 minutes. Okay, we've officially passed 2.5 hour mark. That's pretty good. I'll kind of see where I get from that point on. Yeah, I think I want to try to at least hit 3 hours, you know. Try to hopefully at least hit that. And I don't know what else I'm going to be adding to this room that isn't going to be decorations that I haven't made yet. Specifically the posters, which I haven't done the art for yet, but I will need to eventually. But that'll probably be maybe off stream, maybe on stream some other time. We'll see. But that requires a whole other kind of setup. God, seeing gnats in my room. God, I gotta go clear those out at some point. Not too bad at least. Either way. I think for the most part then, that's this room kind of in its current state mostly done. Man, I can maybe bring over some papers. Oh, I just realized. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. Just realized something. I need to do something real quick. All of these guys were using a different noise. We're using the same noise modifier, and I forgot they need that. Let's see. Control L. Some sort of link texture, maybe. Materials, animations, collections. I don't know. It might be faster if I just do this manually. Oh, God, there's a small fly in my room somewhere. It keeps flying around my face. It's not leaving me alone. God. This thing is crazy. I smacked it like 10 times already. Alright. There we go. They all have that same texture now. I just gotta fix it. What did it look like before? What was it? It was something like that. Yeah, there we go. A lot more subtle. It's supposed to be kind of just wavy paper. There we go. Oh. Oh, that gnat is driving me crazy. I can't get it. If you hear me just clapping around randomly, that's why. It's because there's a small insect that is not leaving me alone. Yeah, try to ignore it though. Alright, got those papers fixed again. Oh wait. These ones also need to be swapped back. You know, this whole texture, noise texture thing that you can have for these models is a really cool feature that I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about. I'm gonna try it out a lot more. So handy for little things like that. We're getting fun little added textures to cloths to make them feel more natural without actually having to sculpt in a bunch of extra detail that runs down your computer. Alright, those are all good now. So now you have your own, all to yourself, little patch bud. But alright. Some pretty open space on the floors. That's all. I'm kind of feeling that a little. Maybe I should. No, let's try adding another chair or two just to help fill in some more of this empty space. Just one's probably enough. Hey, True. Currently I'm just using Blender to model everything, but when it comes to the actual development of the game itself, like the game engine I'm going to use, I've kind of been going back and forth on what software I want to use. I have seen, just a little while ago, we were talking about one particular piece of software, and I forget what it's called sometimes, but it's kind of the go-to FNAF fan game software. I believe it's called Click Team Fusion. Yeah, Click Team Fusion 2.5. I haven't ever used that software, but it seems it's pretty well optimized for this specific kind of game. And I thought for the longest time that it was paid, but apparently there's a free version that I was just never advertised because they really want you to get the pro version. So I'm gonna do some research on that program, see how that looks, see if it seems like a program that I could like get into enough and figure out soon enough that I could reasonably make a game within a decent amount of time. But other than that, the other program that I might use is a program called GDevelop 5. It's a very unknown program, definitely. One of the most unknown programs, I feel like. You know, there's so few people talk about it. There's so little content about it. But it's pretty simple. It's mostly optimized for 2D games, but it's got all the key features that you would need for a pre-rendered FNAF style game, you know. I definitely know, no matter what engine I use or no matter what I do, it's probably going to use this pre-rendered style, so no actual 3D. But because of that, the big thing I need to figure out is how I'm going to render everything individually. Because I know, like for the classic FNAF games, aspects and characters and everything were all rendered separately from one another and then layered back on top in the game engine. But I don't know how I'm going to do that entirely. I know the basic idea of how to do it, and I know how to render with a transparent background, and then you just kind of sorry, oh god, felt something coming on there for a sec. But anyways, so if you just hide all the objects that you don't want to render at a time, and then make the background transparent, keep the lights to get some good lighting, or basic lighting at least, then that's a decent way of doing it. But the problem with that is then you lose out on the shadows. And then sometimes you have a weird instance where you have two objects that are rendered separately but are part of the same thing. So I don't know how you would render that. Like the switches for the fuse box mechanic in my game. I don't know how I'm going to render those switches in a way where they'll both be in front of the fuse box, but also the small part of them where they click into place is supposed to be behind the fuse box. I really don't know how that's going to work. I'm sure Blender has some sort of system like that, or there's some sort of add-on you can get that allows you to render out individual objects, but allows you to keep the lighting and the effects and keep all the setups and all like the collisions and overlays that you have when every object is visible in your scene. But that's a later me problem. That's a decently later me problem. I was gonna say a much later me problem, but I don't know if I can justify much later me problem anymore, because I'm still working on this, and it's not going to be all that much longer before most of the environment stuff is done. And then rendering is going to be the big thing. Or, well, no, I guess not. Because once I finish the environment, then the next thing is going to be going through and animating everything in the environment, including the characters. That's going to be a whole other thing. Now, what are we sitting at? Oh, look at that. 2:44. We're doing pretty good. Just another 15 minutes or so. Don't know what else really to fill up this environment with here, aside from the stuff that's going to go on the walls. I guess I could put a few environmental decorations from around the area in here too. Might as well. This place is supposed to feel kind of cluttered and crowded, yeah. Like, maybe it hasn't been used for quite a while. Or maybe it was never used. Oh, who knows? Lore. I know we've kind of had a thing with the TVs, so I'm sure some of you, if you're still here, are going to be pleased to see that TVs have made a return. There. I'm gonna have to bring these together a little bit. A little too far apart to justify them sitting on top of another. Top of one another. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of hidden behind the chair there, but you can see most of it. Just a few of those. That's probably enough. At least as far as that particular decoration. I think there's a whole theme going on with these monitors being visible everywhere. There's a lot of reason for it. There's something that could be fun. Little in-universe thing. Maybe they had dinner and a show. Play little cartoons from the show while people got to sit down and eat. There we go. One little thing that helps really fill in some of this stuff and really add some good contrast to environmental colors and breaks up some of the shapes a little bit. Table did feel a little empty in the center. Yeah, that's pretty good. Still feel a little weird about some of this empty space over here, but I kind of know what's going to go there eventually. Resident Evil 8, my favorite lord. That's hard to say. They're all pretty interesting. I think the fish guy is pretty freaky, but I think I can pretty easily eliminate him as not being one of my favorites. Lady D just has so much staying power in the game, you know. She's like the first one you see. You spend so much time in her castle. And obviously the internet went crazy about her, so she's one of the most recognized ones. If we're talking pure fear, then the doll lady definitely has got to take that. She has by far the most terrifying segment of the entire game. It's insane. It's freaky. But I think what's his face? Monroe? No, what's his name? I don't know. You know, the metal guy with the big hammer. The guy who kind of spends the whole game talking like this. You know, he sounds like he spends a little bit too much time on Reddit, if you ask me. He's pretty fun. He plays a bigger part in the game later on. His abilities are pretty cool. His monster fight's pretty nice. Factory, I do think the factory segment goes on a little too long. You spend a lot of time in the factory. You kind of do what you need to do there, and then you're kind of just continuing to wander for a little too long. But it's interesting. I don't know. They all got very different appealing factors about them. Heisenberg, yeah, that's his name. I knew it was something along those lines. I don't know why I thought Monroe. I don't know where I got that from. Yeah, one of those kind of well-recognized, fancy-ish names. Heisenbergo is his name, oh. But of course. Alright. So that's this room pretty much as it can be done. Apart from this, I think it's now time we can You can spend the last little bit of stream maybe kind of getting the next room set up. Gotta make sure I get all that. And I also know the table's already coming, so I might as well do that immediately too. Duplicate those. Oh, no. Bring that over here. Take that out of the party room scene. And we're going to close that. Oh, that's wrong. New collection. Party room 2. Immediately. Let me go ahead and mirror this on that axis. There we go. That's pretty simple mirror job there. Alright, I guess I should have done this too. There we go. I guess that doesn't really need to be mirrored, I just need to drag it over here. And then change this from that to green. Lovely. I'll move the table around. I'm gonna need to make sure I set a new keyframe. I'll jump to about 80. Set that there. Move it over here maybe. Yeah, we'll see a bit of a weird different angle on this party room this time around. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Oh yeah, lights. I'm gonna copy that. Paste it into there. I'm just gonna move this over to here. Oh yeah, same thing with the lights there. It's already all set up, all good. Makes sense. Let's go ahead and get that test render going. Just to get a good look at that, see how that as a base area is stacking up. And with this one, we don't have to worry too much about the door, so we don't have to worry about the lineup of the floors, if that's something I end up wanting to worry about later on. Hey, Michaela. Welcome. Welcome back to the stream. No, yeah, I saw your message the first time. I know you're here. I wouldn't say I'm copying FNAF 2. I'm definitely taking some inspiration, vent system and all, but I'm doing something unique with it. At least I'd like to think so. Like I've said before, I'm taking inspiration from various FNAF games. Yeah, there we go. Okay. This is mad. You know what I did realize? Something I might want to do. A big part of this is you need to be able to know which event is color coordinated for which thing, so maybe I'll make the tables, I'll make the tablecloths color coordinate to whichever room the vent is in. That way it's a little bit more obvious. Yeah, that seems fun. Alright. Material. This one will be this one green, and then this one will be wait, no, this one's supposed to be green. Yeah. And this one will duplicate again, change to blue. Now we've got the green and the blue. And then I'll just swap these colors around a little bit. Specifically, I could probably just copy over the hue shift. There we go. The blue stands out pretty well. I think that'll work. Blue for blue, green for green, so on and so forth. Alright, third room is going to be a bit of a problem whenever I need to do that, because I don't know if the third room is also gonna be another party room, but we'll see. For now, as is, it's not too bad. But we still got a lot to do to fill up this room. Oh, what? No, you don't think I'm being original? Am I copying still? Hey, we got a little bump in viewers. Welcome if you're watching. Hope you're enjoying the live. What are we at? Oh, 258. Man, of course, right towards the end. Rounding up towards the end, might as well go ahead and try and get a few more things already copied over. Kind of fill up the environment with the stuff we already know is going to be here. Oh, shoot. Forgot that I had that on. Dang it. Turn that off. Make sure nothing's gonna move randomly. Alright, we should be good. Alright. Yeah. Move this one over here. And then take it out to party room 1. Put it into party room 2. And now I can just use this as a base chair. This room we're going to go a little different. Maybe something happened over here and they got all sorts of chairs piled up. Alright, and then again, on this side, we can actually tuck them in, because you won't see that it's clipping straight through the cloth there. we go. Yeah, this one's gonna be filled with chairs. Oh. There we go. Just chair after chair after chair. Why is it like this? Who knows? Guess you'll have to play and find out. Oh, Lord, I promise, please. The lore, it's so deep and so complex and so absolutely real. There we go. And then, yeah, just one person, one person forced to sit in the corner. That definitely helps a decent bit. Just adding chairs. Just adding some fun chairs scattered around the place. It's enough to really help fill out an environment in a really simple way. Alright, well, and one that's gotta go, no worries. We're running down on the stream anyways, we're coming up pretty close. You know, I've always thought about that orange question. Now, what came first, the color or the fruit? I'm pretty sure it's the fruit, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember where it was I heard it, but there was something somewhere that had clarified it. We call the color orange based off of the fruit, the orange. That might be backwards, but I believe that's what it is. We came up with the pigment orange and identified it as a proper color that we wanted to use after seeing it in nature through oranges. Or something along those lines, maybe. That could be totally wrong. So don't quote me on it. Definitely gonna need to get these out of there though. Well, more specifically, their duplicates out of there. These ones also had dinner and a show, but clearly a lot more tables, so clearly a lot more TVs were needed, I assume. Nice, there we go. That works pretty well. Let's get a test render of that going. See how that looks. Yeah, I have no idea. Grape, I think, is... I mean, that's not even the same discussion, but I have no idea. There we go. Alright. So, we got the first part... So, on this stream, we got the first party room mostly done. You know, as done as we could. It's filled with stuff. We created it. We got the camera angle for it. It's filled with all the new stuff. We got the cloth all figured out. We got color coordination for the stuff. We got more mechanics through the vents all set up and ready to go for whenever we're doing that, including the vents themselves. We got more lights, chairs, all that stuff. More assets that can be reused and spread across the map to fill out some of the other areas, like these chairs. I can now put some of these chairs in storage, maybe put one or two of them in the hallway, you know. More stuff to fill out the environment to make it feel even more cluttered. You know, kind of as we go, making what you need for each area and then spreading out more past in the areas that you've already done. It's a fun way of doing it. But I think that's probably going to be it. I think we just passed the 3-hour mark. Yeah. We've made pretty good progress, you know? Made a lot of progress, actually. A lot of quick progress, I feel. So I think... yeah, alright. This has been a good stream. This has been fun, you know? We made good progress again. I'm glad to have another proper development game dev stream under my belts. Kind of helping getting back into that a little bit. Seeing how it does, you know. With some of like the new viewers, kind of seeing what you guys think of that. Continuing to, you know, I guess promote it, quote unquote. I guess is another way you could put this, you know. Being able to, well, not monetize the production of it, but build up the size of the channel through its production instead of just silently making it in the background, not posting anything, and then coming out with just the game at the end when no one knows about it. Ah, yes. My entire world and dimension is just candle. There's a watermelon. Should there be a watermelon? Watermelon, firemelon, and elemelon. Elemelons. A lot of melons. I don't know. Not a... I wouldn't call myself a melon expert, but sure, why not? But, yeah, this was a whole lot of fun, you know? Glad you guys could join me for another good stream. We got plenty of hours in it. I did have to start a little late today, so that was a little unfortunate, but you know, bad sleep schedule, couldn't sleep last night, all the usual stuff. But I haven't gotten anything to eat, and it's several hours past lunchtime, so I am definitely going to go get something to eat. Maybe order something if I'm really that desperate. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream. Thanks for joining this one. Oh, I should be streaming tomorrow again. You know, trying to keep up a lot of my streams as much as I can. You know, trying to keep up a daily stream. You know, if possible. Figured a good way of doing that is let myself stream whatever feels right. But yeah. No, Michaela, I did not steal from Scott Cawthon because this is labeled as a fan game and will be up completely for free, and none of the assets or characters here are from any of his productions. That is not how stealing works. But I will see you all next time. See you tomorrow, hopefully. Oh, bye-bye. That's a stolen outro, I guess. Again, not stolen from FNAF 2.